Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on the RTDM series, live interview series. Tonight, we are so happy to have Eleni Anastos with us. First, I'll introduce myself. I'm Andrea Kiesling, co-founder of the Risk Takers Dream Makers Project. And the Risk Takers Dream Makers Project simply exists to share and celebrate stories of women who are living their dream. We do this with the intention of providing inspiration for other women to do the same. It's a fun project, and Ann and I love doing it together. We're really happy that we get to have a platform to share all the stories of women, to offer inspiration to others, but even more importantly, share their stories. So tonight we're happy to share Eleni's, and we're looking forward to hearing from her. First, I'll let Ann Barwick introduce herself.
Yeah, hey everybody, it's Ann Barwick here, and thanks for joining us again if you are, or for the first time. So glad you're showing up. We are going to have a really exciting night tonight, and something that's close and dear to Andrea and I's heart of coaching, right? Because Andrea and I are both certified coaches, and we believe in it. So we can't wait to hear what our wonderful guest has to say tonight. Again, I'm the co-founder of the Risk Takers Dream Makers. I also have my own business, A Strong You, where I do personal and leadership development coaching, which is a passion of mine. So.
Yeah, so if you've joined us tonight at any time, please feel free to drop in any questions or comments. Ann will be managing the comments tonight, so feel free to ask questions. Let us know that you're here. And even if you watch the recording, feel free to drop any comments, questions in there, and we'll be sure to share it with Eleni so she can give us some answers.
Give me something to do. Send some comments in here. I'm going to be working the Facebook page on the side, so give me something to do. So if you see me drifting off over there, it's not a lack of attention. It's the attention to all of you on Facebook as well.
Yes, yes. So as mentioned, tonight we are hosting Eleni Anastos, and we are so happy to have her with us. We're honored, Eleni, to have you here. So Eleni is a business strategist. She's a prosperity coach. She helps entrepreneurs and executives overcome money and mindset blocks to create income, impact, and the lifestyle that they desire at any age. So this is a very nutshell description of Eleni, but what we're going to really dig into tonight is Eleni talking a little bit about her being a master of reinvention after turning a painful experience into a purposeful one. This is kind of what she helps her clients do as well, or it is what she helps her clients do too. So Eleni, I'm going to turn it over to you to share your story.
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. It's great to be here. And thank you to all of those folks that are listening and watching right now. Yes, I do consider myself a master at reinvention, and I believe that every event that happens, every occurrence that we go through is meant to help us learn, to grow. It's always for growth and expansion. And I had a very traumatic experience. I was a public school teacher. I was assaulted by a mob of students. I was knocked down, kicked repeatedly. I literally thought that was going to be my last day on earth. And the actual physical assault wasn't the worst thing. It was my belief that the district staged a cover-up and said it never happened. So I went home in a neck brace with PTSD and wondering how I was going to survive. You know, I felt completely overwhelmed, lost for words. I didn't know what I was going to do to move my life forward. And for me, I know when I get to the point, because I've always been fired up about the future, I'm always excited about the next step, the next chapter. And when I found myself unable to be excited about the next chapter, about what the future may hold, it scared me. I knew something had to change. Something had to change. And it was my beliefs about the whole situation that were keeping me locked into that mentality. So I had to flip the switch. I had to install new beliefs, and it started from there.
Yeah, wow. You had talked a little bit about finding purpose after a traumatic experience, and I wasn't expecting you to say that. That would certainly be quite a lot of trauma. I'm sorry that you experienced that, but it's with a a strong mindset that you can look back at a painful event like something like that and see how it propelled you to where you are,
Yes.
and find gratitude in something so
Yes.
so talk to us a little bit about how you did that, because it's tough when you're in it, when you're experiencing
Very
something
tough.
like that, to feel gracious for an experience like that.
Oh, completely agree. And while some things may be simple, they're not easy. So I definitely make the distinction between that. And for me, when I was believing it was so unfair and I was just caught up in that victim mentality, I couldn't go anywhere. And none of us can succeed beyond our current beliefs. So I knew the first thing I had to do was install new beliefs that would help propel me forward. And I stopped getting caught up in the, why did it happen to me? Why me? And I knew that going forward, I had to claim the future I wanted. I had to believe I was going to be okay. I had to believe I was going to be healthy and heal from the injuries. I had to believe that I could start my own business and be able to prosper again financially. And again, simple, but not easy. And I followed that up with each day, I'd literally be walking around saying, I'm healthy, healed, and whole. I have a business that I love and it supports people and it helps people. And even when I had nothing, when I didn't know how I was going to get food from one week to the next, I still set an alarm. I got up, I got dressed, I acted as if I was already living that life that I wanted going forward.
Yeah, fantastic. So those affirmations were really, really important. So Eleni, was this something that this affirmation type of thing, or positive self-talk, was that something that you have always been able to do in your life prior to this event occurring?
Actually, yes. I remember as a very young child telling my mom, I said, Mom, I know nothing's going to happen to me that God and I can't handle together. I could always talk my way through it, think my way through it. And I didn't know I was doing it as a kid, but I was always finding a purpose for the pain. And to me, when you can get the lesson out of it, there's always a lesson, there's always a gift. Now, granted, sometimes those gifts are incredibly painful, but they're still gifts. If it leads to more awareness or more understanding, that can take your life to another level.
Yeah, absolutely. You're speaking my love language here, because I get really fired up about this idea of failure or mistakes, and how, in fact, those are gifts, and I think my life really changed when I adopted this mentality of, from every failure comes a seed of equivalent knowledge and power. And that is something that, when embraced, I really think that propels you forward and makes you feel fearless, gives you confidence that try something new and give it a shot, because if you fail, then you've learned and you've developed wisdom as a result. So I love hearing
100%.
Yeah.
I love that you said that, especially because it's the lesson in everything. It's the gift in everything. And again, it doesn't mean that gifts are pleasant and fun. Sometimes they can be painful, but if you learn something, if you gain that extra level of awareness that is going to impact your life going forward, then it's still a gift.
Yeah, absolutely. So Eleni, tell us a little bit about how, since that event occurred and you kind of were able to get through it with a shift in your mindset, what do you do with your clients today? Talk to us a little bit about your day job, your type of work, and how you help other people adopt that same mentality.
Well, the majority of my clients are very bright, very soulful, but like many of us, cannot get out of their own way. Blind spots are called blind spots for a reason. And I often tell clients, if they have trouble believing that what they want to attain is even possible, then you can borrow my belief in you. I've heard mentors say that in the past. I've heard it for years, borrow my belief in you. I mean, how often have you said, I believe in you, whether it's to a partner, a child, a friend? And clients especially need to hear that. So whether I'm working with an entrepreneur or an executive, it's all about helping them get out of their own way, because I see far too many people settling for less than they desire. They're under earning, they're over delivering, they're not living the life that they truly want. And I'm on a mission to help people bust through all those limiting beliefs that make them think they need to just be okay with being okay.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's inspiring. So in your work, Eleni, what do you find is one or several of the more popular limiting beliefs?
Definitely around money. Most people feel out of control with money, feel very disempowered. And sometimes I think, well, I've heard people say, money's a necessary evil. There's never enough to go around. No one's ever going to pay me what I'm worth. And we adopt those beliefs usually when we're very young because it's what we heard our parents say. And no disrespect to any parents, because I think they did the best with what they knew. So to me, it doesn't matter if you're making 50,000 or 5 million. If your head's not on straight with money, because it's going to impact us every day for the rest of our lives. And if you're a business owner, it touches every aspect of your business. So you have to have a healthy relationship with money.
Yeah, for sure. And you and I had a conversation about money and a healthy mindset towards money. And I said that I think that's a conversation in and of itself because there's so much unwrapped there. So I think we're going to have you back to really get into that discussion. Sticking to the reinvention aspect of life, because that is so incredible. How do you think that your life has changed since this mindset that you've adopted and kind of like flip the switch with these affirmations and positive self-talk?
I feel like I have given myself an extended warranty on my own life. I mean, I turned 60 last year, and I feel like I'm just getting started. And in many ways I am. And I'm so excited about the future. And I want people to know that you're not past your prime. You get to decide what your prime is. There's so many examples of people that are in their 70s, 80s, 90s that are still hitting it out of the park. I mean, Bob Proctor, who I adore, I love his teachings, he's 86. Betty White, who I think is so darn funny, is 97. They're still active and doing what they want. So I have learned that, the attitude trumps age every day of the week. And I don't want people to limit themselves because of a certain number that might be on their driver's license.
Yeah. And would you agree that finding that purpose and living that purpose kind of helps prolong life?
Yes, I am so passionate and geeked about what I do. I love my clients, love helping them go above and beyond what they even expected for themselves or thought was possible. And, somebody said, well, what did you do this weekend? I said, weekend. There was a weekend. And, and I didn't mean that in a negative way. Some days I might, Monday might be a play day, but I might be working on Saturday and Sunday, whether it's for a client or my own project. As you know, when you're so passionate about what you do, the day of the week doesn't matter. The time doesn't matter. It's to me, it's like the vitamin. It's getting the energy from really caring about what you do and knowing that you can have a positive impact on someone else.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Kind of what you described is some people describe as a flow, finding yourself in this work where there is no concept of time and everything just kind of disappears and you forget to eat and, that kind of thing.
Yes.
One of the things that I have always been so interested is learning from other people how they found themselves in that place. How do you get to this place where, you have an experience, you don't love what you're doing necessarily. What it is you would love to do, or maybe you don't know what it is you'd love to do, but how do you bridge that gap to get from this place of, just kind of mediocrity to a place where you're living in that flow as you described?
Yeah. Well, it was a few years after the assault. I had moved to Florida and I had a job in a chiropractic clinic. I was helping to manage the clinic and I was doing a lot of data entry. And I'll never forget, because it was the moment where I knew, oh, something has to change. There was an outside consultant that came in that was attempting to do a staff training. And bless her, she was a sweet woman, very affable, but she could not communicate her way out of a paper bag. And I'm sitting there in my uniform with my little badge, and I was grateful, extremely grateful to have that job, because it meant, I could make my car payments, I could put food on the table. So no complaints, all gratitude. But when I would try to project forward, like, where do I want to be the next 5 years? The thought of still being in that position that did not feed my soul. And when I was looking at this woman, I remember sitting there, my arms were crossed, and I'm tapping my feet, and I went, one of us is wearing the wrong outfit. I've got to take some action now. And it was literally a month later, I went to visit who was one of my biggest mentors. And I said, yes, I've always known, because I was a teacher for so long. And I've worked with small business owners in the past in the finance arena, but I've always loved helping people holistically. And I knew that that was my path, and just went at it with, reckless abandon. This is what I need to do. I wanted to get fired up about my future. So I knew I had to make a change.
Yeah, certainly. So what were some of those action steps that you took that actually led to your starting your own business and becoming this, this person that you have dreamed of and living this life that you dream of now?
Yeah, truly owning that I'm the cause of whatever's going on. And because honestly, when people think about how life happens to them, yes, there's so many things outside of our control, like the pandemic, 100%. But we all know we can always control how we respond. So when I knew I had to make a change, and a dear friend of mine said, all those times you helped business owners get money, but you instinctively helped them with their personal issues, with their holistic plans for their business. He said, it's called coaching, Eleni, and people get paid to do it. I'm like, get out of here. It was like the epiphany. So I could do what I love. And I chose the person that I wanted to study with first, because getting certifications in coaching was very important to me. And I started my training less than a month after I was sitting with my arms crossed, tapping my feet, saying one of us is wearing the wrong outfit. And it was a lot of money. I mean, I had to start investing in myself too. It wasn't as if, okay, I'll just go to this conference. No, it was a huge investment. And at that time, I was only making, I think, $16 an hour. And I almost didn't do it. And then I asked myself, if I don't do this, what am I saying? Am I saying I can't do it? Am I saying I'm not worthy of doing it? And then I thought about all the people I knew I was meant to help. I'm like, no, we got to make this happen. Move forward.
Amazing. So did you kind of jump ship altogether, quit your job and move right into coaching, or did you kind of ease into it like a, side hustle for a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit of a side hustle at first, because my first coach training and certification was several months. So I didn't want to jump until I was properly certified. And then when I knew that I could actually do this, that this business was viable, that's when I let the chiropractor know that I would be leaving.
Yeah, well, good for you. That's something to celebrate, and in a lot of the conversations that we've had recently, it's been amazing to me to learn, as we talk about, our project is risk-taking, dream making. So a lot of times that risk comes first before the dream making part.
Yes.
Right. But a lot of people that we've talked to have said, to me, it really wasn't that much of a risk, because really the risk lied in remaining and staying the same and not taking the risk. Right. What do you have to say about that?
I so appreciate that you said that, because when I, again, projected forward a few years and I imagined my life being just as it was then, and it wasn't bad by any means. One of my mottos is, you don't have to be broken to want to be better. So I always want to evolve and grow. And I think we're constantly reinventing ourselves, especially when something uncomfortable comes along. It gives you the chance to recreate, add another level, another skill, another layer of awareness. And the idea of not living full out, I'm so passionate about what I do. And when I see people just kind of going through the motions, yes, I completely agree. The biggest risk is to settle for something that is less than you desire.
Yeah, absolutely. We only have one shot at this life, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I especially want to shout out to anybody north of 50, at any age you can reinvent. But again, since I'm 60, that it's never too late. It's never too late. And I want people to honor themselves and to go for it and to allow themselves to live the life that they have always dreamed of, regardless of where they're at chronologically, because none of us know exactly how much time we have here, you know, whether it's a year, 10 years, 20 years, or beyond. And I just want people to be passionate about where they're at. And I have heard a lot of people say, well, I need to stay. This is all I've ever done. You know, I've been in this job for 30 years. It's all I've ever done. Well, I want people to really hear this. It may be all you've ever done, but it's not all that you are. So please don't shortchange yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great advice. Well, so Eleni, there were a couple things from your story or your interview rather that you shared with us on our website, and so I'll direct anybody to our website to read Eleni's full story. But there were a couple things that I pulled out of that when I went back to read it before we jumped on this call this evening. A couple things that really jumped out at me. One of them was you said, "I don't let other people rent space in my head." And this was in response to the question about how do you stay motivated? Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. Well, when I knew that starting my coaching business in my mid 50s was the right path for me, I lost count at how many times I heard, but you're already in your 50s. Why don't you just retire? You've already done this. Why don't you just go back to teaching? You know, it was everybody projecting their own limiting beliefs onto me. They wouldn't go for it. But then I would at first let that, if you absorb that, you soak that in, it absolutely rains on your parade. It takes the wind out of your sails. So I had to get to the point where that may be what you believe. It's not what I believe. It's not how I'm going to live.
Mm-hmm. And you know, that's probably easier said than done.
Yes,
Because when you
definitely.
don't have a support system, that makes it hard. You know, you need cheerleaders in your life sometimes. So how did you overcome that? You know, hearing some of those negative responses from folks around you. What was kind of the way that you got past that?
I really had to focus on my intentions, and my intentions were to be of service. I feel with every fiber of my being that I am meant to help people to live their best lives, professionally, personally. And if I choose to play small, if I choose to let all that other crap rent space in my head, then who am I not helping? Who am I not being of service to? And I could not tolerate that. I could not tolerate that.
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna paste that up in my office somewhere where I can see it every day. Do not let others run space in my head. I love
Yes.
that. The other thing too, I wanted to ask you about to expand a bit on, you talked about in response to the question, what idea impacted you the most? You answered, I am the most powerful person in my life. That really speaks to my belief of total responsibility. Like
Yes.
we have to take responsibility, and we get to take responsibility for our life, meaning we are in complete control. We got to own that though. So that really resonated with me. But tell me a little bit about that idea and your kind of a little bit, expand on that a little bit.
Yes, absolutely 100% responsible. I'm so glad that you brought that up. And it, even in situations again like this, our current challenging, uncertain times, again, we did not create this pandemic. We did not create the business loss, the job loss, but we still can control how we respond. And
Absolutely.
the only positive long-term change comes from internal switches. And if we keep letting the external circumstances rule, then we're screwed. Honestly, we're not going anywhere. So I know I've heard people say, well, you're the most powerful person in your own life. What about people like you love and care for? I said, exactly. People that I love and care for, I need to take care of myself. I need to be the best I can be so I can take care of them, so I can help them, and so that we can be role models for people.
Excellent point. Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. So I think I should pause here and check in with Anne to see if we have any questions that we should we should know about.
Yeah, hey everybody. Yeah, we've got a few comments, and I have a question for you as well. But Diana said, Eleni is awesome and true to her spirit, which I totally get that authenticity from you. Just a really grounded connection from you. And then let's see, we have Carl Davenport says, can you comment on helping others who might be oblivious to their blind spot? What are the signals that they should look for to know they are on autopilot, settling for yet less, or perhaps miserable? What do you say, Carl, about that?
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate that question. And he just described somebody perfectly that is ensconced in limiting beliefs. And for me, the difference between how to know if it's a limiting belief or if it's just something you need to learn from and grow from. So say that there is something that might be of interest to you, whether it be a new job, a career shift, or even some kind of adventure you want to go on. If your mind first goes down the trail of why it won't work, why it won't be possible, all that could go wrong, then yes, the limiting beliefs are ruling you. You might not know how to get somewhere, and you don't need to get caught up in that. You only need to know that you want to. Like when you use a GPS in the car, you plug in the final destination, right? And it doesn't give you any other instruction until you put the car in drive and go. But if you make a wrong turn, the GPS system doesn't say, you're stuck, you're screwed, you have to stay here forever. No, it says rerouting, recalculating.
Yeah, I think it's hard when you see somebody that's stuck in those limiting beliefs.
Yes.
And if they're not ready for it, I mean, I even have clients that come to me for coaching and think they're ready for it, but it's really hard to challenge some of those.
Yes.
One of my favorite questions, if I notice that in a friend or something, is how's it working for you?
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, maybe try that out, Carl, and ask them how is that perception working for them, and come from, I think, also coming from a sincere place of
Absolutely
wanting to help someone kind of see how they might want to change their perceptions. So.
Right, because there should be no judgment. We are who we are. Nobody wants to be judged, and Lord knows I'm going to keep making mistakes, not necessarily intentionally, but I don't want to beat myself up when I do. And I hope that I have the guidance and support of someone else to help me along. And I know that's what we want to do for our clients.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, we have Anne Marie says, I love how Eleni is able to acknowledge that naysayers are truly projecting their own insecurities onto her. Stay true to you, Miss Anastos. That's nice, Anne Marie. And I have a question for you. Sorry about the dogs barking in the background. But I love hearing your story about how you came to the place and kind of having the aha moments, and then changing a lot of your perceptions and finding your authentic place and your fierceness in you. So as a coach, you do that and help a lot of people go through that. How do you personally keep yourself in that kind of mindset?
I'm very diligent about it. Those of us that are health conscious, we're very concerned with what we eat. I'm very concerned with what goes into my eyes and my ears. And every day, I start every day with gratitude and I end every day with gratitude, having a gratitude journal. Even on days where a lot of things go wrong, it doesn't mean that the whole day was bad. Or sometimes I could say, I am grateful that I had the strength to deal with this. As long as you're drawing breath, there's always something to be grateful for. So gratitude is a big anchor for me. And I'm also very conscientious of who I keep close to me, my close circle of friends, because not everybody can handle your dreams. And I think especially where our dreams are concerned, we need to be very protective of them like we would anything of value. Because if someone else doesn't have, your intestinal fortitude or your desire to go forward, they could be the ones raining on your parade. And if you haven't built that solid foundation yet of this is what I need to do, this is where I'm going, it could take you off your game.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Like what I hear you saying, it's kind of like working out, right? It's something that you have these practices every day. It's not like going to the gym and we're like, oh, we're here, we've arrived and we'll just stay here, right? It'd be nice if it was that way. But so I hear you saying like your affirmations are really important to you. And gratitude is
huge. I think gratitude is the biggest foundation, because I don't believe that any more good isn't going to come my way unless I'm grateful for what I already have. And again, even on days when things don't work out well, you can be grateful that you had the ability to move through it.
Yeah, definitely. And I really appreciate the kind of your vibe attracts your tribe, right? And considering who's your tribe, who's around you, and not feeling bad about making sure it's the tribe that you want that vibe with. And if it's not, maybe take a second look at it.
100%. I think there are a lot of people that use the crabs in a bucket theory. I don't know if you ladies are familiar with that, but
no, tell me about it.
Put a bunch of crabs in a bucket and basically they're being taken to get boiled. And one crab starts to crawl out. Well, there's no lid on it, so I'm going to crawl out and get out of here. Now the other crabs, instead of crawling out as well to freedom, glom onto that one crab climbing out and pull it back down.
Oh, wow.
So you have to be very mindful, and not everybody that was in your past really needs to be in your present. Now, I'm not saying cut people loose. We all have the relative or somebody or the neighbor maybe that, you can't not interact with them. But then it's at that point where just be very mindful of what you share.
Yeah. And you know what came up with me when you said that crab analogy? I've never heard of that, and you might want to crawl as fast as you can to the top of the bucket.
Yes. Don't stop.
Don't stop. Ellie says, Eleni is super professional and I love her perspectives. I would definitely recommend working with her.
Oh, thank you.
So Andrea, I'll let you wrap it up.
Okay, great. So Eleni, if you would just give us one last bit of wisdom. You've given us so much already. What's one final bit though that you would share with our viewers tonight?
I really want people to know that it's never too late to step into their power. Never too late. And it doesn't matter what the age is. Step into your power and own your life.
Yeah, great advice. So finally, Eleni, before we let you go, could you please share with us where folks can find you and how to contact you?
Yes, thank you. Everything is branded under my own name, Eleni Anastos. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram. It's Eleni Connects. And I'm always happy to have a conversation. So people can reach out, book a session, let's talk, or email, whatever is beneficial. I love connecting with people.
Yeah, and we also want to mention too that Eleni has a book coming out early 2021,
Yes.
A Purpose for the Pain, which I can imagine will be a wonderful book. So we're going to make sure to put the title of the book in the comments so that you can, is there a place that we can pre-order, Eleni, on your website or anywhere?
Not yet, coming soon. We're working that all out.
Okay, we'll stay tuned for the book then as well. Eleni, thank you for your time and sharing your story with us. We are all better because of it.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate being here.
Yeah, thank
Absolutely.
you.